Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Burning Hints, Fantasy Football. Um, we're just gonna start right off with waivers. Big waiver this week, trying to recover from Derrick Henry's injuries. We had Smart putting down 84. Hinty, you did a little bidding, and then Nick P went 26. 84, I don't know, you can't win that one. And then McNichols for Herrera. Do you have any insight on who you think is going to be the better back in Tennessee? Who'd you rather have?
Honestly, I think it's a great debate. I think Adrian Peterson is going to end up being the guy. I mean, he was there with Detroit last year. He looked pretty good until he got banged up. And Adrian Peterson is more of I mean, I know no one is Derrick Henry, but he's more Derrick Henry type, like where he's going to be a downhill runner rather than McNichols is. He seems a bit more of a pass catcher type guy. Um, so I think they'll both end up having value. I don't think they're going to be able to run Adrian Peterson 20 carries a game. He will break, but I do think he's going to be the goal line back, and I think that's going to be pretty valuable.
Yeah, I saw some crazy stats. Like McNichols has it's like less than 50 carries in his career. And it's like 4 years. So like Peterson's gonna get the carries, but McNichols might be the more consistent guy because Peterson might not show up. But I think both of them will be good. McNichols, I'm surprised. He's just like I don't know, small, stocky
Honestly,
guy.
I like Nick P's pickup of Boston Scott the most out of all of them.
Really? Why
Uh,
is that?
I mean, I just think you saw last week. I mean, I know it's the Eagles, so they're not going to be consistent, but the Eagles have a pretty good schedule coming up here for running. I mean, I know it doesn't look like it whenever you go Chargers, Denver, like that's rough, but those are going to be his next two games, and both those teams are like run funnel type defenses. So they're going to force the Eagles to run on them, which means Boston Scott's going to get a ton of carries. Gainwell is going to get no carries, so it's going to be Jordan Howard and Boston Scott, and I think Boston Scott is just a better pickup.
Yeah, and feels like I don't know if Sanders is out with. I know he's injured, but even
He's
when
on he's on IR, so he
they
is
put him
out
on
the next
IR.
2 weeks no matter what.
Yeah, so they weren't running him anyway. I mean, I feel like Scott. I think I saw like we were talking about this like a week or two ago that like Sanders had like 20 touches the first week, and then since then it was like barely even hitting 10.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see. They still don't like to run the ball. They were up big against Detroit. I like the Boston Scott pickup, but for me, I'm not. I'm not banking on the Eagles. Put it that way. But definitely for value, probably the best one. Uh, we saw Lestrange pick up Tua, which will be like a decent for this week.
Yeah, I think
Um,
two is a great stream this week. I don't think past this week though he's going to have much viability.
yeah, he
Just
played
because.
decent against Buffalo, and he put up some big numbers. He's motivated by the rumors. Then we had Jared Cook. I don't know why you'd pick up Jared Cook after what happened last week. Uh, but go for it. Basically losing them the game. New Orleans defense. I kind of like this. I might hate it later, but like they don't have that hard of a schedule. They hopefully Taysom Hill will come back, so it's run the ball, play defense. The defense will step up for Taysom Hill until they can't step up anymore. So I kind of like that.
I like their
Um,
schedule.
yeah, they've
Uh,
and they looked. I mean, when you're shutting down, not really shutting down, but stopping the Bucks defense or offense looks pretty good.
yeah.
We saw Smart pick up Taysom Hill after I think he dropped Winston or was it earlier? I know he had Winston at one point, or he's a big fan of Winston. So we'll see how that goes. But smaller moves, and you had your trade with him. Because
Very
like
unfortunate timing.
because I had to process these. I was like, I didn't see the Michael Thomas news, and I was like gonna text Chris Moore. I was like, "You sure about this?" Like blah blah blah, and then he was like, "Oh, like blah 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 about Winston getting hurt." I was like, "Oh, okay, that kind of makes sense." And then I was just like, "All right, I guess I kind of put this through." So that was interesting.
Yeah, when
Um,
I took the trade, I was like, all right, I saw Michael Thomas had, there was news that said Michael Thomas had a setback. And I was like, okay, he's out another 2 weeks, which I was like, that's perfectly fine with me because, like, I'm not winning right now. Like, really, the only part of my schedule that matters is the playoffs. I got to make sure I win through the playoffs and win the number one pick. So I
yeah,
was like, all right, Michael Thomas, great pick up there. Tony Pollard, I'm pretty thin at running back, so having an extra running back would be pretty good. And then immediately the news comes in: Michael Thomas out for season. Like within 5 minutes of me hitting accept.
yeah. Well, I mean, even Judy for Pollard, I don't think it's that bad. Because Judy, he's coming off an injury. Who says he's going to stay healthy? I know Pollard's
Yeah.
been a little disappointing, but he's still like not bad at all. I mean, um, Judy will probably be better if he stays healthy, but that Broncos team is kind of imploding. So um, I don't think even with the Michael Thomas, that's why I was like, oh man, this is like bad. Uh, and then that news came out, it made it a little bit less bad.
Kuzi made a really good pickup at quarterback. Derek Carr is going to have a pretty nice schedule here over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I had Derek Carr for a little bit, but now they're dealing with the Ruggs
Yeah.
emotion. But yeah, Giants, KC, Cincinnati, Dallas. Yeah, I mean their first really good defense. I mean, you could say Cincinnati's pretty good, but they just got
It
owned by
depends
Mike
on
White.
yeah, it depends on what happens. Like if that Cincinnati defense recovers after just falling apart against the Jets. But even you throw that out, like the Giants are a great matchup. Kansas City, Dallas, Washington, Kansas City, Cleveland. Week 15 is the next like really
Yeah,
difficult
Cleveland and
one.
Indy, I thought were like the two ones that are like kind of tough. But besides that, Denver just traded away their best player, so or one of their best players at least. Um, so yeah, that was a good pickup. I had him. I'm not going with Joey Burrow though. So you want to just get into? Oh yeah, you have the record, and I'm
Yeah,
hot.
I have our pick record for the season currently. You are now in first place due to the fact that the past 2 weeks you've been 6-0. Um, just absolute fire right now. We'll see if you can go 6-0 for a third straight week. But you're now up at 32-16 on the year, and I'm 28-20 on the year.
32-16, and you're 20-20. Okay, we're close.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
trying to
so close.
see. Trying to see if there's a week when Matt's and Tony play.
Tony,
2 weeks, week 11. Okay, because
that'll be that'll
it's
be a
basically
tough
like
pick.
it's basically an easy two.
Yeah,
Until then. Okay, I'm looking at the slate. We got a good slate. Okay, a couple 4-4 teams have some easy wins, but the rest of us are
it
fighting.
sucks that Henry's out for that matchup between Joey and Cat Dog.
Oh man, what the fuck? Wait, this is last week. I think I'm looking at, or am I looking at this week? I'm playing snowball
We're
this
in week
week.
9.
Okay. I just looked at week 10 for a second and I was predicted to lose to Greg by like 50. I was like, fuck. All right. Uh, all right. So we're going to start with my games at the top. I'm playing Snowball. Snowball is still dealing with the CMC, but CMC might come back this week, right? Isn't he the CMC guy? Yeah.
Yes,
Um,
CMC is on his team and he might be back this week. He was activated from IR, but limited practice, and it doesn't sound hopeful that he'll play this week.
gotcha. I'll make one adjustment to my team to put in Deontay. So it'll have a little bit more realistic for my end, but he still needs two people in. He'll have Greg the Leg in for another 10 points, and then I'm assuming at running back, potentially CMC, or he's got to figure that shit out. So that'll be interesting. But we'll be within probably like 7 points in the projection.
Yeah, so I'm I already know I'm taking your team. because I don't expect CMC to play this week, which really puts a damper on his team. But I've been looking at Herbert a lot lately, and he's had a great season so far, but I don't think Herbert keeps it up just because he doesn't have that running baseline that's really consistent. So if he doesn't throw like 3 touchdowns or he has a turnover, it really just screws up his week for fantasy. And Burrow, same thing in terms of running, but I just think that Burrow has been a lot more consistent lately. And I think a part of that is having better talent around him. I mean, I think Joe Nixon's better than Austin Eckler, but they're both pretty like top 5, well, not top 5, top 10 running backs in the league. But Jamar Chase has become elite already. And then you have T. Higgins, who honestly I was extremely excited for this year until, Chase just took over. And Tyler Boyd is a great third option, whereas Herbert has Allen and Mike Williams, but Williams has not shown up the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I have Williams on my team. But he's this boom or bust guy, and the hope is, if he has a boom, that cancels out everything on his side. But Herbert, yeah, it's weird. Not having that running thing, and when they came out like 4-1, I was like, "There's no fucking way this team is going to be like challenging for like the top in the AFC." I like their coach; they have good offense, but like their defense is not that good. Justin Herbert's still in his second year. Like we'll see. I think going against Philly helps. He might have like a return to form. I'm not saying 40 or anything like against Cleveland, but I think I think they'll even out. And you were saying about like Chase just going off. I think Chase is just like amazing. A, because he's really good, and B, because he's playing with Joe Burrow and they just have that connection. They don't have like to establish rapport or anything.
I think the other thing is too is just the type of player that Chase is. Like he's a downfield threat, so he just stretches that field. And at that point, Uzama's had 2 very fantasy relevant games this year because you can't cover everyone on that team.
Yeah, and like I feel like the Bengals have always like they got John Ross to do that, and they haven't really had like a downfield threat like they used to have, like Jerome Simpson, like those like crazy athletes. That would stretch the field, but I haven't had one like forever, so maybe that's sort of like kind of what they needed. But I mean, when I look at the matchups, it's like I just feel like my team sort of has the edge in terms of just more players. I like the Buffalo versus Jacksonville. Just Buffalo's just like insane. Like it just seems like they dominate everyone.
I actually traded for Buffalo in a league, like in the money.
I saw that finally went through.
Yeah, I went for that because honestly, just like I looked at their schedule, and I think whenever I went through it, I said there's just like 2 games I don't want to play Buffalo, and it's Tampa Bay and like Indianapolis. I think maybe I'd have to go back and look.
Yeah, but now you might want
to. But like Jacksonville, Jets, Indy, New Orleans without Winston or Michael Thomas, I think is a pretty good setup. New England, Tampa's not great, but then you have Carolina with Darnold just looking like hot trash again. Yeah. New England and Atlanta for the playoffs. I mean, it's just...
Yeah.
And they're already the number 1 defense, so like like they're a good defense, and that's why I went after them. So I think if Steven can find a way to get his season back on track, I'm not sure if it starts this week. He should try and really find a way to do that, especially with it being the trade deadline. If he makes the playoffs with having CMC in that Buffalo defense, I think that he could have a great run. And I think it might come with trading Herbert.
Yeah, it might trading Herbert. It's not like the huge thing. I mean, Andrews might be someone you want to trade. I mean, I love Andrews because he kicked my ass because of week 5. But
he also did pick up Pat Freiermuth, who I think is actually going to be relevant the entire rest of the season. I don't think he's going to be like a top 5 tight end every week, but I think he'll
Yeah.
be relevant every single week.
7 targets in back-to-back weeks. It's pretty good. I mean, he could probably find a trade with like Chris Gregg or someone, someone who wants a Penn State guy. But he really doesn't need a backup tight end, especially after last week.
So I'm assuming you're taking yourself.
I'm taking myself, yes. All right. So we can move on to the next game, which is going to be Chris Gregg versus Cat Dog. I think Cat Dog had Derrick Henry, right? So he's in deep shit. Plus, he had Aaron Rodgers on COVID.
Little surprised you decided to go right for the backup of Jordan Love.
It's big risk, big reward here. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It sucks that Greg has Aaron Jones, but what strikes you from this game?
I think it'll be interesting to see how Murray plays with the sprained ankle, and it sounds like Hopkins also might be out this week. And with that, I mean, that could really put a damper on Murray. But with Alex having to play Jordan Love, it kind of just completely screws that up. It's hard to pick against Chris Gregg's team with just like the talent on that team after him going out and pursuing everything. And Henderson's proven to be a great back, and I think he's going to have another good week. I don't know. I can't go against Chris's team here. I think with the injury of Derrick Henry and not having Aaron Rodgers, it just kills Alex's team.
Yeah, I think if we still had Rodgers, there would be a decent chance because Kansas City versus Green Bay could be a shootout.
Yeah.
Plus, it's like Zach Moss and McNichols doesn't really inspire much confidence. I mean, part of you would want to say play Dylan just to sort of hamstring Jones if you're trying to win. That might totally screw you if it doesn't work out, but
Dylan, and I know it's New England and they have a good defense, but I think I would rather play, I guess
Hubbard.
He's assuming Chuba is not playing because they're projecting CMC in, but I don't think CMC's in.
CMC's not going to play. I don't think so.
So
being a Panthers fan and seeing this.
So it's going to be Hubbard.
Yeah, eventually that point is probably going to rise, but why put him in before you have to,
Yeah.
I mean, the one sort of look I see is I don't love Arizona that much than I did before, just the injuries.
Yeah.
And kind of losing to Green Bay at home was pretty bad. They didn't have
losing
Devontae
J.J.
Adams.
Watt is a killer on that defense.
Yeah, because you still have Jones, but it's disgruntled Jones trying to get his money and everything. And San Francisco's not bad. I'm not crazy about playing the Arizona defense for San Fran because you don't really know what you're going to get. I'm not sure if there's a better option on the waivers, but there's Baltimore versus Minnesota. I don't know.
I think I would actually rather go for the Chargers. I know the Chargers haven't been good this year, but they are playing Philadelphia. And Hurts does know how to turn the ball over pretty well.
Yeah. And honestly, the Bears versus Pittsburgh I don't hate that much either. The Bears haven't been great recently, but it's Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh is a very bad team. And Big Ben should not be playing football anymore.
Yeah, the fact that Cleveland lost to Pittsburgh I was like, man, they're really only going to score 10 points. But yeah, I kind of want to lean towards Alex's way, but it's just that projection is just so daunting.
I think if Alex still had, if you still had Derrick Henry and you still have Rodgers in there, I would definitely go with Alex, but just with losing Derrick Henry and not knowing what McNichols not knowing what Tennessee's run game is truly going to be, and they're playing the Rams this week, It just
Yeah, that's tough. The only like hope he really has is like Jefferson gets every single target. Cook gets hurt in the first quarter. Thielen gets no touches. It's like you have
I
to
will
hope for a
say
lot of things to go wrong.
Thielen is he's the number 15 wide receiver right now, but in points per game he's in the top 10, and I cannot see that continuing. Like that is going to have to end. Like there's no way he's keeping up this crazy touchdown pace.
Yeah, Kirk just loves Thielen. But it looks like I'm looking at the past couple of weeks. Jefferson's off to his worst is off his two worst weeks,
Yeah.
and
And you got
gonna
Cook back now too. Granted, like Chris does have Cook, but like Cook's gonna take away from Thielen, and then I really think Thielen's gonna fall off here.
yeah, I could definitely see that. And Baltimore's a good team. I mean, the Vikings are so hard to. Yeah, the
Also,
Vikings.
they did nothing against Dallas last week. Like,
It's like anytime you like are supposed to believe in them, they just shit the bed, just like Kirk Cousins. So, uh, I think we're both on Greg here.
yeah.
Just too much for Alex to overcome here. Um, all right, we're looking at Stein versus Nick P, and Stein is on a 2 game losing streak, maybe. I don't know. No, I think he won one. Um,
Here's the big one: is Nick P is 6-2.
yeah, it's wild. He's got great receivers, good quarterback, and he's James Conner's playing solid every week.
Um, Another surprising thing is Robert Woods. Like those first couple of games, like he was awful, had no like nothing. Since then, 12, 21, 10, 12, 19. Like he's on a hot streak right now. He's not getting the same targets that he used to in the past. Like it used to be like he'd finish each game with like 6+ receptions, but they're getting him involved and they're finding ways to get him into the end zone. And the Rams' offense is so on fire right now. Like Robert Woods has just been taking part in it.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, whenever he doesn't get the yards, he gets touchdowns to make up for it, so that's big.
yeah,
What
so
strikes you from this game?
uh, I think one, it kind of like Stein is going to have to figure out his bye situation. He doesn't have Hawkinson this week, and he doesn't have Gibson. Um, I guess so. He's going to go with Gasicki, which I think is a fantastic sub in right there. And what do you do with Ridley?
I was gonna talk to him. I might like allow him to put him on IR or something, just because it's so strange. We'll have to talk about that. I'm not sure how many IR spots he has, but yeah, you can't really
Like
trade. Who no one's
you
trading
can't.
for him. He's kind of stuck.
It's
Um,
indefinite. So like the question, like you don't know if it's 2 weeks. You don't know if it's rest of season. I mean, it could he could be done with football permanently.
yeah, it's not good for anyone.
No.
But I mean, he could still put in Galladay. I mean, there's people he could find on the bench, but he's still got to put in. He's not going to be playing Bridgewater. He's going to be playing Jackson. This is going to be a lot closer. Whoa, what did I just do? Be a lot closer than the projection suggests already.
Yeah.
But he's got a lot of work to do.
I'm leaning
Um,
towards Nick P in this matchup because of the bye week issues that Stein has with his team, along with the fact that even in the positions that Stein doesn't have like bye week issues at quarterback and like Jamar Chase is still there and so is Najee. Najee is going to be great no matter what, like the entire season. But whenever you at quarterback, you have Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. I think that's basically a scratch. Like I'm not leaning one way or the other. And Jamar Chase, yes, he's having an incredible season, but Devontae Adams will be back for um, Nick P, even if uh, it's Jordan Love. it's Kansas City and Adams is going to have a good game.
Yeah, and what you see a lot of times with like young quarterbacks is they just use their best players as crutches, and I think it's going to be a lot of like Jones and Adams, Jones and Adams. I don't think that'll change all that much. Um, and he gets a full week of practice with them. It's going to be tough. Part of me, I'll have to text Stein about freeing up a space for that Ridley thing. But part of me really wants to go with Stein here. I kind of like Harris if he can get another running back in. That's like I was like looking at like Jordan Howard. There's not like a lot of great running backs. You gotta hope for like one that can get you 10. But if you can get one that gets him 10, I mean, Gesicki versus Kelsey is pretty solid. Galladay, actually he can't play Galladay. He's not gonna play Galladay. No, he's gonna play Galladay for Ridley. Um, we'll see if Galladay actually plays. Um, but I think I'm gonna lean towards Stein here actually. Not that Nick P doesn't have a really good team or anything, but something just says it's going to be Stein for me. I just don't trust. I don't know. I rely so much on running backs, and I just I never trust Nick P's running backs. But
I will say Gesicki, like he did start to slow down last week. Granted, it was against Buffalo. We'll see if it continues to slow down as wide receivers for the Dolphins continue to get healthier. I mean, before last week, he was on pace for 115 receptions this year. And I don't think he's going to finish. I don't think he's going to finish with 115 receptions.
Yeah, I mean, once I feel like that, I'm assuming Parker was back last week, and that probably killed a lot of his touches, being like he was the one big body. So
and I don't think Will Fuller is back this week, but I think he'll be back the following week. So I mean, at least that's good for this 1 week that you do have to play Gesicki here, and it is against Houston, and Houston's probably in like the bottom 5 against tight ends.
Yeah, well, once Fuller comes back, he'll be out again, so I won't worry too much about that. But so we'll be on different sides here. I'm going for Stein. You're going for Nick P. Nick P trying to make it 7 in a row to start 0-2. And now we got two that are not going to take that long. We got the McDonald's versus the number 1 fan trying to get a win to stay back in the playoff picture. What do you think about Kuzi's team? You're thinking Robinson's out, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking Robinson might be out this week. I know they've said that he's made like great progress so far in the week and that he's looking better, but I don't think that he's going to end up going this week, especially because it's Meyer, and Urban Meyer is going to be like, I want to play my guy. I brought in Carlos Hyde, and it's Carlos Hyde time. And it's also against Buffalo, which it's just not a great matchup for a running back.
Yeah.
I do love the pickup of Carr. I think Carr will be on pace with Hurts this week. Yeah, it's pretty clear that it's going to end up being Kuzi as the winner here.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Odell's not. Who knows what's happening with Odell? Fant's got COVID. We'll see if Rob changes his stuff up, but I doubt it. Yeah, I do like Kuzi's team a lot, though. I mean, you got Booker in place of Saquon, Keenan Allen, Cooks is the man, and maybe Tyrod Taylor, maybe this week, but probably next week. We'll see.
I've heard this week he was questionable last week, so I think Tyrod will be back this week, and I mean I think that's only good news for Cooks, and just the sooner, like once Barkley gets back, like the schedule for the Giants is unreal for Kuzi going down the stretch here. Like I think they'll sit him this week because next week's their bye. But then you have Tampa, which is rough, but Philly, Miami, Chargers, Dallas, Philly, Chicago. Like that's how you finish out the season. Barkley's going to go on a tear once he gets back.
Yeah, as long as he stays healthy, he'll be good. And Booker's not been too bad. He's been pretty good actually. In relief. So I kind of like Kuzi's team, and if things can sort of go the right way, Tyrod Taylor's healthy the rest of the season, starts to look what he looked like week one. He's got kind of a scary team. But I agree with you. Even if Robinson is healthy, I mean Jacksonville went down 24-0 to Seattle last week. So imagine what's like against Buffalo.
Yeah,
Um, I'm not saying there's really that much better you can play. I mean, I'm not crazy about Latavius Murray. I kind of like Kenyon Drake, but that's all sort of depending on how much you trust Jacobs. But still, I think
I
Kenyon
think
Drake
I
will
think
get
Jacobs
good
is going to be
touches.
back this week. So
Yeah. Um, but they will need more receivers because Ruggs is out. But we'll see. Maybe they put Drake in the slot. We'll see. But I think we're both on the same side here.
yep, Kuzi.
All right. Kuzi. Hopefully 5-4, barring a disaster. Maybe McDonald's can step it up. We'll see. Then we got Tony's team, the Beast team. It's actually crazy how much he is. It's not impossible that he wins this. Uh,
I hate looking at his team because it's like Amari Cooper. Like, oh my god, it just
yeah, we do
hurts me.
this every week, so we'll just let's just keep going. To
Do you think that they can have a great week uh, and somehow knock off Chris Smart's team who's actually playing this week? Do you think it
I
can
think
get
if
a
he had a
spoiler?
kicker, that would make a big difference. But I don't think so. Um,
Yeah, I
especially
think
like
not having Clyde and not having a kicker definitely hurts him. And I think
yeah,
Michael Carter will have another great week for Chris Smart. Chris
things are
Smart's
sort
team is
of
actually looking pretty good after starting 0-4. Um, he's really turned it around, and I don't see why he wouldn't be able to pull something off. I don't like Kyle Pitts this week. Um, I actually, if I was him, I think I'd go with Zach Ertz. I know that sounds weird that you'd play the less talented tight end, but Zach Ertz is on a team where uh, you're going to have Hopkins out, which definitely is going to hurt because they don't have to cover Hopkins then. But they still do have, I guess they don't have AJ Green this week either. He just came up on the COVID list.
oh
Yeah,
really?
yeah, tight ends actually really suck for him this week because Kyle Pitts, what I was going to say is without Ridley there and no true wide receiver at all, Lattimore is going to be all over him.
Yeah, and we saw what Gilmore did to him last week. So it's yeah, I feel like you just go with pitch just because of the thing. But I was following what you were saying there. But if there's not gonna be Hopkins, if Hopkins plays, I would say play Ertz. But
But it's
yeah,
looking
no
like,
AJ Green. I mean, it's
yeah,
Kirk, but they still have Kirk and more. It's still like not even that bad. That team is
yeah.
ridiculous.
But I mean, part of the reason why, like Zach Ertz, to be honest, at this point, like I don't think there's much talent there anymore. Um, I think he's kind of washed at this point. But whenever that team's fully healthy and you have a Murray that could run, you have Hopkins, you have AJ Green, you have Moore, and you have Kirk. Like that's so many options that I mean, you can't cover Ertz with literally anyone. He's just running out there and sitting in the middle of the field for a ball. But with Murray not being able to run, Green out, and I think Hopkins will also end up being out. I don't think you can play Ertz this week.
I mean, I still might go with Ertz just because that Niners secondary sucks. I mean, probably Fred Warner will play on him a little bit, but still, it's tough. I mean, it's a toss up. I don't think you can really go wrong either way. But he's got to figure out his Hopkins thing on his team. But he's got Judy. I love his running backs.
Yeah,
And then I love Stafford versus Tennessee. So um, I think Smart should be cautiously optimistic, but the fact that they were talking about trading Gordon on Denver looks like Javon. It feels like finally the rookie running backs are like taking the lead now.
yeah.
Finally, so As long as Cup doesn't go off for like 30 points and totally negate everything that Stafford does, I
Cup is
think you'll
on.
probably be okay.
Cup scores more points this year on average than Stafford does.
Yeah,
Like
it's not. Yeah,
Cup is on pace to be the number one player in fantasy this year at all positions.
that's nuts. I mean, I saw something. I'm not sure if he's still on pace, but he was on pace to break the receiving record. Obviously, different with how many points or how many games, but crazy Cooper Cup.
Yeah.
Stafford doing moves, but I think we're both. Are you going to go with Tony?
No, I'm going with Chris Smart.
Yeah, I'll go with Chris Smart too. Uh, so we're gonna move on to your game, going against the Strange.
Yeah, it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be good. Um, it's just.
So,
I mean, one, my team doesn't have much, and I just like I'm a little concerned with Tannehill, but I decided to stick with him. Like I know there was Carr, I know there was Tua out there, and I contemplated going after both of them, but I decided to stick with Tannehill because without Henry, I think they have to throw the ball. And Herbert against Pittsburgh, just running backs against Pittsburgh isn't great. I do think Bateman is going to have a great second half of the season, though, so I am hopeful for that.
who are you gonna play at tight end? Are you banking on Kittle coming in?
I'm 100% certain Kittle is going to be ready and active this week.
All right, interesting.
Uh, yeah, just from like everything that I've seen, it sounds like Kittle would have played last week if he could have come off IR, but this is
Yeah,
his first week eligible, and uh, these platforms don't take him off IR until basically game day. So, I mean, I think Kittle's going to be ready to go this week. Like he's practicing. It sounds like things are good. If I can't play Kittle, which I don't foresee being the case, I'll probably pivot to. I mean, there's
I
not
like Mo
great
Alley
options.
Cox. I like Mo Alley
Uh,
Cox.
the thing I don't like about Mo Alley Cox is he plays tonight, so I'd have to make the pivot and pick on the play tonight.
Yeah, screw that.
Um, so it's just not really worth it there. I think I'd probably go with Evan Ingram, who hate to say it, but I'd go with Evan Ingram because I think he has the better chance of falling in the end zone than Dan Arnold.
Yeah, probably the way to go. Is Waller still hurt?
Waller is, I think it's the same situation. I think it's kind of like one of those situations where he's still kind of banged up. He's practicing, but he's going to play.
Okay, because if he wasn't, I was gonna say go for Foster Moreau. I like Foster Moreau. Um, but we don't need to worry about that. So we're gonna pencil you in for like okay. So you're down by about 20, which is crazy to me. I don't really understand that. Running backs, 3 points, Waddle. Oh yeah, Bateman. That's cool.
Yeah, I think Bateman's going to have a great second half of the season. I mean, my team is basically just banking on rookies performing. It'll be nice once I can get back some players that are on IR.
Yeah,
Uh,
hopefully Tony can do something special. But we'll see. I kind of like the Carolina defense. I'm not gonna say I like it more than New Orleans defense, but I don't think New England's anything special. They don't turn the ball over too much, but it's not like it can't happen. I think that game will be close. I don't think Carolina's gonna win or anything, but that defense kind of shows up most of the time. But it's gonna be tough sledding for you. Debo Samuel just seems to go off like constantly. It's insane. What else do you like about either your team or Connor's team?
I like the pickup for Connor at quarterback. As I said, I think two is a great stream this week. Um, and I also, I'm not like Eckler will go off this week against Philly, but I'm looking at Debo Samuel. I'm if I was him, I'm not sure how I would feel about Debo being such an essential part of my team. And we're looking at the trade deadline right now. I might try and, if I was him, try and sell high on Debo. It sounds a little crazy, but he's dealt with a hamstring. I think it's his hamstring right now, where he's missed practices the past couple weeks. And he's someone who has a career dating back the past 2 seasons and in college where he struggled with soft tissue injuries. And like you lose Debo, like that's just a killer for your team.
Yeah.
And you could go out and sell high on Debo right now and pick up a wide receiver and a running back, or even just 2 wide receivers that aren't quite as good, but they're reliable. Um,
I gotta say, man, I do not agree with this Tua over Mahomes thing. I understand Mahomes not played well the past 2 weeks, but I can't do that. Man, he throws a lot of picks, but still, man, Green Bay with Jordan Love, I don't know. Putting Tua over Mahomes is still number 5. It's not like he's terrible. But
I understand the play. Like, I mean, Green
he's
Bay shut down
cocky.
Murray last week.
That's a cocky ass play.
I mean, honestly, like to me, it makes sense. Like, I think like Green Bay shut down Kyler Murray last week, and you have a struggling Kansas City offense. I mean, Mahomes
Short
the
week.
past 2 weeks has been not great. Um, so I understand the play personally, uh, even if it is him just trying to showboat and be like, "I can play Tua and beat you." To me, it makes sense to play Tua over Mahomes in this scenario. It sounds weird, but I think it's accurate.
Well, I don't appreciate the showmanship, so I'm actually gonna pick Hinty to win this game, and hopefully he gets cursed for not playing Pat Mahomes. Fucking ridiculous. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm assuming you're on the stranger side.
Yeah, I'm going with the Strange. This is not a week that I can become the spoiler.
You never know. But okay, we're going down. I'm just gonna recap. I'm on you. You're on the strange. We're both on smart. We're both on koozie. I think I'm on Stein. You're on Greg, and then we're both
Nick
on.
P.
Oh yeah,
Nick
Nick
P. And,
Nick
Nick
P.
P. and
And then
Stein
we're
play. We both picked Chris Gregg,
both picked Chris
and we
Greg, and then
both
we're
picked Nick.
both on me. All right. Anything else you want to bring up? Anything else you saw or whatever?
Uh, I don't have anything to talk about right now, but I think next week we'll be going over some players to. I guess we probably should have done it this week with it being the trade deadline, but
Yeah. Well, I think next week we might just go over do like a special little longer thing where we go over biggest surprises or
or maybe we
something at
make
the
our
midway point.
predictions on
Oh
where we
yeah,
think.
playoffs.
Yeah, we can make our predictions on playoffs, even though it's becoming a little bit clearer with Steven falling out, kind of back at 3-5 now, but I still think he has a shot.
He could still beat
But
me. Not out of the question.
yeah, but
Yeah,
it'll be I mean, what's your win streak right now? You're 6-2 now.
doing pretty well. My team is on. It's kind of hard to figure out. I do better with this app on my phone.
Yeah, it's definitely built for your phone better than on the computer.
Yeah. So I can't even figure out what my whatchamacallit
Win
is
streak is.
win streak is. But it's all I know is I've won a couple in a row. So I won last week. I think I beat Cat Dog. I beat Stein. And I lost Lestrange. So it's 1, 2, 3 in a row.
Yeah, so I mean, you're looking pretty good up there at 6-2. Nick P 6-2, fighting for the repeat.
It's too bad that Alex is sort of
Yeah, Alex's team, What it was is just kind of falling apart with, especially now with Henry out. DJ Moore, without, it sounds weird, without having CMC there, DJ Moore is not as good as
Yeah,
he.
and I think defenses are honing in on him, and it's funny. Alex is like second points in the league, and I don't think it's impossible for him to miss the playoffs. But we can talk about this next podcast.
Sounds good.
All right, guys, have a good week. We'll see you next week.